Hello and welcome to another episode of MEP Originals with me, Almas, Tholot, the editor for MEP Middle East. The MEP industry has evolved into one driven by technology, employing the right tools to do the right job. From cost cutting to future planning, data can enable and empower us in more ways than one. The data we need most certainly exists, but are we using it to its full potential? The key to unlocking all that data can offer the industry is visibility, and this requires the right technology. Procore Technologies Solutions Consultant for MENA region, Mohammad Alfaour, joins us this morning to discuss digitalisation and data visibility in MEP projects. Thank you for joining us, Mohammad. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Almas.
Let's begin the conversation talking about the importance and the need to have access to real-time data in complex MEP projects.
It's no secret that in the MEP industry, MEP systems go through sophisticated design and process management approaches. With that, naturally, you have to find a way to manage the process from inception and pre-construction through handover and beyond, especially for MEP systems and managing the full life cycle of those systems. With that, you got to manage the changes that inevitably come up. And by doing so and leveraging technology, you can mitigate risks and also enhance that end result, that deliverable to the end users.
This brings me to my next question, which is how do you think clients benefit from visualization, and how important is it to have contextually accurate information shared with presented to stakeholders involved in a project?
In the construction industry, when we talk about clients, very rarely are you talking about one person, one entity. Usually, it's a conglomerate, let's say, or a coalition of clients. And each one of those individuals, he or she is going to have inputs. In order for those inputs to mean anything, they need to have the right information, the right context, and visibility to control those processes. On the flip side of that, or if you extend that, widen that horizon a little bit, and you bring in all the other stakeholders, like the MEP folks, it's important for them to have all of the context that they need as well, because what they do is going to influence and impact other disciplines. When you bring all this together into a centralized location, what you're doing then is giving everyone the ability to have a proactive approach on what they're doing respectively, rather than what we often seen with kind of the status quo approach, let's call it, of having to be very reactive and responsive. MEP systems have a full life cycle that extends well beyond construction. So those systems naturally need to be managed in a way early on with the right context in order to deliver it appropriately and to maintain it properly. So what we can start to avoid is, the MEP industry will appreciate this, right? But things like sick building syndrome. That happens for a lot of reasons, but it's a lack. If you boil it down, there's a lack of information, a lack of process. So technology is going to support that absolutely, and it does already today.
Does the application of such technology significantly impact delivery deadlines and overall costs involved?
Absolutely. So when it comes to rolling out technology and platform in specific, well, what it does is it allows you to centralize all your information and mitigating risk across the board, all stakeholders. But really what it ultimately does is you're giving everybody, every stakeholder, the ability to play a role in delivering projects on budget, within the allotted time frame, and to the quality standards that are required. And it's no secret, in the industry nowadays, you've got people really trying to do more with less. So we hear the term of operating lean or lean management in the industry a lot now. And we need technology in order to achieve that.
In a supposedly traditionally tech-worthy sector, Do you think there's a need for regulatory authorities to mandate the use of such digital solutions, especially in larger and long-term projects?
I love this question. So, in the industry across our region, there's a lot of large, mega, giga programs, right? You've got, in the kingdom, you've got Vision 2030, you've got the 2050 Master Plan in the UAE, you've got consistent projects across the entire Middle East and North Africa region, stretching all the way to Egypt, Morocco, and beyond, right? So when it comes to regulation, I've got a strong opinion about this. I see regulation as more of a checking of the boxes type of exercise, and you want to avoid that. So how do you do that? Quite frankly, in our region, we're known to be a little bit of a top-down approach, but with solutions and partners, they want to also kind of raise everybody up from, let's say, from the boots on the ground up as well, and meet in the middle, right? Because that's where you're going to get all that value. So rather than regulating the use of technological solutions, what I'd say is we want to have a culture shift. And we've already seen that. It's been accelerated by the pandemic, right? So by having executives, management kind of bought into this approach and bringing its value to the rest of the team, the rest of the organization, and also by meeting the folks that are really doing all this input and bringing that information into the head office, let's say, or back office, what that does is it creates a natural awareness. So it's almost like surgical, let's say, approach to adoption, okay? And ultimately, what you're going to do is you're going to show people what value it brings to them to leverage technology, because it's not new in the industry. Just show them its value to each person, and naturally they'll be open to embrace and do what's required to deliver their day-to-day.
In many ways, the status quo remains to be paper drawings and checklists. Do you think there is a lack of digital culture that creates a barrier to visualization and the visibility, so to speak, in projects, and that remains in the industry today?
Yeah, good question, Almas. I'm glad you're asking that, right? Status quo as it is, yeah, of course. Everybody goes back to what they're familiar with, what they're used to, whether that's spreadsheets, emails, WhatsApps.
Right.
But what that does, the status quo essentially, is it keeps everybody in the past. Now, I agree that traditionally there probably was this culture where people didn't really go into that technology adoption, but it's nothing new in the industry, especially in the MEP space, right? We've got smart systems that are managing all of these different MEP disciplines and all the devices and everything like that. So it's nothing new. It's just a matter of creating this awareness with everybody. And then they start to use these systems because it brings value to everybody, right?
So this brings me to the challenges, What are the challenges you face when applying these solutions to projects, and how do you address them?
In the industry, there's no shortage of challenges. Let's start there. Oftentimes when I get asked about this personally, I like to kind of turn the tables a little bit rather than just stating the facts, which we'll get to in a minute, about the challenges and how to overcome that and approach that. We also have kind of boots on the ground challenges that are happening. So the end users, the site managers, the engineers, the quality control managers, the foremen, supervisors, and laborers, everybody's got their challenges they're dealing with on a day-to-day. So while they're trying to juggle all of that and staying safe on site and tackling their processes, there's going to be pushback on new processes or let's say new systems to approach. So to take your question then, Almas, with regards to the challenges faced in the industry, from a technology point of view, you can really boil it down into kind of three key approaches or three key components, okay? You've got platform, you've got a partner, and you've got ease of use. Now I'm gonna explain those. When it comes to the term platform, you hear that a lot today. Every system is claiming, we got a platform, we do this, we connect to this and that. But what is the definition of a true platform? When you think of the iPhone, for example, iOS, that's a platform, right? It's bringing all these different applications together into one device, one place. Likewise, a true platform should be bringing all of your systems, your processes, your data into one place, centralized. So when you hear that term thrown around, question it. Is it really a platform approach? Okay? If it's connecting some information here and there, fine, I respect that. But it really needs to connect everything and everyone into one place, okay? In addition to that, when you're evaluating, I'm talking to the MEP industry now, okay? In construction, when you're evaluating systems and you're evaluating vendors and suppliers, you need someone that's a true partner as well. Now, what's the meaning of a true partner, this partnership? It means that they're from the industry for the industry. They know your pains, they know what you deal with on a day-to-day, and they know how to resolve it. They're gonna bring those best practices to you, but they're going to take into account your existing processes. So your success is a partner's success. In addition to that, the last note here is ease of use. If something's not easy, they're not even gonna look at it, all right? They're gonna come at it once, and then if it's hard, they're like, no, thanks, okay? So ease of use is critical because you're giving each one of those users, whether they're out on site or in the office, something that's gonna make their admin processes easier, exactly. So in order to achieve that, you need to show them what's valuable to them through your partner, by connecting everything in a platform and making it easy to use in their hands. That's it. That's the winning recipe.
So in a largely saturated market, there are so many of your competitors here, right? What do you think drives your strength, Procore's strength?
I'm gonna tell you a story about that. So personally, having worked in the industry for 15 plus years, I've worn many hats. One of those hats gave me the liberty and the privilege to actually be a Procore customer myself. So I used the system, fell in love with what it did for myself and everyone around me on our projects. But also, I fell in love with the people behind it. Now that's key. Because Procore focuses on the construction industry, this is what we live and breathe. We've been in the shoes of our customers. Many of my colleagues in Procore come from the industry like myself. So when someone tells us, I'm running into this issue, or when they have pushback, we connect with that because we pushed back too, right? Yeah. Based on that experience and based on our global approach, we're all collecting best practices together. We bring that to the industry and to the region. Procore's vision is to enhance the lives of everyone in construction. That starts with our CEO towards everybody in between, all right? And we all deliver against that in every conversation we have, every interaction we have with our clients and our customers. And that makes a big difference. Now you couple everything I just told you, which is a lot, and then you take the fact that we also listen to feedback from the industry and we incorporate it into the enhancements of the platform. You can't mess with that, right? And then all of that information and all of this vision gets reinvested into the platform to bring those enhancements, bring those solutions to the people that need them most, the industry.
That's great, and that's the only way to grow and stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
what does the future of digitalization in the MEP industry look like to you? Where do you think we're heading?
Another story. When I was using Procore, I was supporting with BIM coordination practices for a hospital client in the healthcare industry. During that time, when we were running coordination, first of all, we had multiple clients. Anybody you talk to, when you say multiple clients, they'll understand that. Because when you have a client, it's not one person, right? It's different end users, different investors, different stakeholders, and all of them have direction that they're going to give you. When it comes to MEP, they are most of the time the ones that lead these design coordination processes. There's a lot of reasons for that. But ultimately, everything that they do drives and influences all of the other disciplines and the other stakeholders. Just like that process, I see the MEP industry driving technology and the use of platforms for a collaborative approach, because that's what they do on their day-to-day. So when you ask me how is the technological future and adoption in MEP, I see this part of the industry driving it forward.
These are some wonderful insights, Mohammed. Thank you for sharing them with us.
Thank you, Almas.
The impact visibility into high-quality data can have is something we certainly cannot underestimate. For more insightful conversations and exclusive content, stay with us. This is me, Almas Tholot, the editor for MEP Middle East, signing off.